I think also there's a lot of science that shows plants are sentient now.
Yeah, I'm not so sure on the like plant sentience yet, because like
Yeah, it's definitely
I know, like,
an emerging science.
yeah, like I don't know. I guess I mostly focus on like the feeling pain part, like with the central nervous system, whatever. But I guess
Yeah, you touch a plant and the entire plant knows that it's been touched.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some, I don't know.
There's something there.
There's something there.
Yeah.
For sure.
So like I guess there I would err on the side of caution. Like I would probably want to hurt as least amount of plants as possible. Would you agree with that? Like perfect. All right. So I'm Elvin. It's nice to meet you.
Megan.
Nice to meet you. I want to ask about the power versus the powerless. So how do you feel about the power versus the powerless? Do you feel the powerful should have the right to oppress the powerless?
No, I think if you have power, you have responsibility.
Right, exactly.
So.
Is there any situation where you feel like that changes, where like maybe if the person in power is really smart or super strong? Yeah, maybe. Right. It's just all the same question. It's pretty basic there. Where people start to differ is this point, because we bring up like the animals that we use for entertainment or food, and that are exploited. Would you agree that we're oppressing them?
I think there's a lot of large-scale commercial agriculture that is oppressing animals, but also we evolved over millions of years eating animals. We wouldn't survive if we didn't eat other beings at some point. So I think there's a lot of nuance in there, but I do think that if you're going to eat animals, I think buying it, I'm a vegetarian, I'll just say,
nice.
If you're going to buy an animal, buying it here at the market where it's grown on a small farm, the farmer knows it, I feel like is likely to be more humane and less of an issue of sort of oppression than buying it at Safeway or some big chain grocery store.
Have you heard of veganism at all, or I guess what's stopping you from going vegan, or what's your understanding? I guess because some people have different definitions of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of it's just personal choice. There's things I really love, like eggs and cheese. Also, I think in talking to my doctor, it can take a lot more intention to get the variety of minerals that you need if you are eating an only vegan diet. So I'd say I eat plant-based the majority of the time. I did all my shopping for the week here. I do have a dozen eggs, but otherwise it's pretty much all vegetables and beans.
I see, yeah, totally. So I can see that you're already super conscious, right? Maybe about how these animals feel. You do, you're shopping here, so you're obviously conscious about that impact as well. I'm wondering, how do you feel about, the animal sentience, just their individuality?
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
I think they
does
are
that matter to you?
absolutely sentient. I think also there's a lot of science that shows plants are sentient now.
Yeah, I'm not so sure on the plant sentience yet, because
yeah, it's definitely an emerging science.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I mostly focus on the feeling pain part, with the central nervous system, whatever. But I guess
you touch a plant and the entire plant knows that it's been touched. So there's some, I don't know.
There's something there.
There's something there.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I guess there I would err on the side of caution. I would probably want to hurt as least amount of plants as possible. Would you agree with that? If plants are alive, yeah, right.
You're gonna eat plants.
Yeah.
Also.
So if it's necessary, subsistence hunting, it was literally necessary to have to kill somebody else to eat,
Yep.
And I understand that that's kind of where we got the or are you in understanding of that's where we kind of got the idea of using the whole body of somebody to honor their
certainly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think there's also a little bit of subsistence farming. You're I have a chicken and I harvest the eggs, or I have a pig and every year I give away its babies to feed my community.
Yeah, I mean that's how my ancestors, I'm Islander, so that's how they had to survive had to survive at that moment. Maybe it was questionable for some of them, they didn't really have to, but as far as they knew, maybe they were doing as far as they could possible and practically. My question for you is, what is stopping you from eating those, not consuming those eggs or dairy at all? Is that even of interest to you? in terms of like knowing these animals are sentient? Like, have you heard about the dairy industry or like stuff like that?
Absolutely. And I think that's where I minimize and I'm intentional about where I purchase it. But I also know a lot of farmers, and we have a long history of like, there's limited economic opportunity in rural areas, and that there's, I think, ways you can do that right, and animals can have a good life.
Well, I guess I get to the point where I tend to ask people like, does the quality of life matter if at the end, like their whole purpose is to be used, right? And we see them as an object. Or
I'd say the same of a pet.
I also
pet and their purpose is for like.
I agree that cats and dogs are exploited in this country as well, or just globally. A lot of people, they see them as pets, and they see them as and they're still like bred for commodification purposes. So. As long only in the situations where somebody's rescued an animal and maybe is just learning how to take care of them and gives them every need of theirs, that's when I kind of start to see like, okay, maybe you're at least thinking about the fact that these domesticated animals should be living free, and it's our fault that they're in the situation that they are, that they need to depend on us. So like I recognize that too. However, I guess
I think there's just a ton of nuance. I think it's really hard to draw really distinct lines that this is white, this is black, this is good and bad. Because you also look at like the domestication of goats and sheep is 60,000 years. Humans have domesticated them. And
but like just because we've done something for a long time, would you say that is a good justification to like keep doing it?
Not necessarily, but we evolved together. So that if we just stop, there is some value in giving a gift, and if that gift is sustaining another life, there's something to that. I think it can be reciprocal relationships, and their life is much better when they're taken care of and they're in somebody's community than if they're in the wilds.
Do you believe that, like, since we can't ask for consent, that they're actually victims in that situation?
No, I don't.
How can you, like, I don't know, I guess I have a hard time, like, claiming that they gain any benefit, right? Like, if they're, refused their whole life.
Have you spent time on a farm? Because I think, I grew up on a farm, and there are so many, you can go on a farm and tell, like, are these happy animals?
I mean, I get that they would be happy, but
are they
my thing
scratched?
Is, like, they're, like, lulled into a false sense of security, right? Because, like, if you were living happy on a farm, and, like, they treated you really well, like you would want to live the rest of your life out, like, and you would kind of be like, well, why did you end my life? Like, if you had the means to like keep me going, especially because I guess it's important to get to the point of like studies today. The scientific consensus right now is that whole food plant-based diet, or plant-based diet in general, is actually completely attainable. It's like actually cheaper than meat diets. Yeah. So I guess like knowing that it's completely possible, do you feel like you should be morally like obligated to not like eat or participate in those industries at all?
I feel like generally trying to gain or switch someone's mind by telling them that there's a moral obligation, they're going to get super defensive and back away. So I think when I talk to people
I wasn't saying there was. I was just asking if you feel like there is one, like, I think, like, if you do you feel like there's like a moral obligation for people to go vegetarian at least, or like I
think there's a moral obligation for us to examine our choices and be intentional about making them. And if you do that and you come to the conclusion that, okay, I want to eat meat once a week, and you're aware of the trait, you're aware of the carbon impact, you're aware of the impact on animals, you're aware of how you're supporting big ag, we all get to make those choices.
But it's tough because the animals don't get a choice. So we like, as long as like if you take that into account too, and like I was trying to ask, like, do you consider them victims? Because if you want to claim that like you're taking into everything into account, you have to take into account that like they're somebody who probably wanted to live. Like if we agree that they're sentient, it means they feel, they they dream, they think, they have they form relationships. Chickens are each got different personalities as well. Like so it's like not seeing them as objects for me means that like I don't want to aid in anything perpetuating their harm. Like, and knowing that like big agriculture has genetically like modified and selectively bred all of these birds in the first place, even the ones that live on, you know, family farms, because wildfowl only made maybe 12 to 13 eggs a year. It's just kind of, it starts to look a little different for me, and so like I have a hard time. I guess that's where like I start to feel that moral obligation. I just want to like explain why I feel that, because I feel like because I understand it can seem like I'm trying to like attack somebody or something, but I guess like that's where it comes from for me. So I just wanted to like explain that.
Yeah, and I guess I think that I don't see in, you know, on a smaller scale farm that a chicken laying eggs is harm to that chicken.
Yeah,
they're fed way more than they'd ever eat in the wild.
Yeah,
so
I don't think it's necessarily harm like that they're laying eggs, or that like, you know, maybe people are taking them. I see the issue with like the person's mindset on that animal, and on that being, and like I fear that gaining the eggs and gaining that product from them, that's where it like causes the mind switch in some people, because they're like, oh, now her egg production's down, like I guess we're gonna, you know, use her body. And she's like, well, wait, like that's not fair. Like if you can keep me alive and you can sustain me, and like you can maybe supplement the nutrients I'm not getting or something, like why end my life? So if you are taking that into account as well, like the victim's thoughts, or like the person who's losing their life, I just tend to feel like everything else doesn't seem worth it anymore, because like it's their everything. Right.
Yeah, I agree. And I'd say that if they weren't living in this situation, they probably would live somewhere between like a tenth and a quarter of the lifespan, because they're not being coddled. So having regular access to food, having a safe place, having water.
No, I'm not.
Winter.
That's why I'm not saying like release them all into the wild. I'm saying like maybe turn these farms into sanctuaries where we can take care of these, you know, beings. Like there's a Rowdy Girl Sanctuary. She was like a cattle rancher. It was like her and her husband. They had a big operation, and then they did this, like, they call it transformation now. They like completely transformed to plant-based farming. So they saved land space, they grew revenue, and it's just like another like eye-opening thing that like, oh, the meat corporations and everything, they make you think like you have to do it this way, but you know, you can actually do it this way. So they have like a whole program that's super cool to look at if you're ever interested in looking at that. I don't think you're farming right now, maybe, but like
no, I'm not. No.
But yeah, I don't know. I just think there's a lot of other options, like, you know, building sanctuaries, and maybe I don't know, lobbying for actually like resources to go towards them, or even just using community power to actually donate and, you know, keep them afloat to take care of those people. But
I think if we paid the real cost for a lot of things, the market would help dictate that. You know, it is way cheaper to eat a plant-based diet.
Yeah, totally.
And there's a lot of subsidies that go to big ag that I would be in favor of going away. Yeah,
for sure. I guess I want to ask you, like, has anything I've said today made you like maybe rethink eating eggs, or like what's your stance on that? Like, I know you literally bought them just now.
Yeah,
so, like,
I'd say no, because I feel like I've had versions of this conversation several hundred times over my life, and each time I think there's interesting food for thought. But I also feel like at this point I feel good about the choices that I'm making for my body, and that I appreciate you being out here, because I do think that there probably are folks that have not had a version of this conversation.
Well, I mean,
it's new to them.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's all. I guess all I want to leave you with then is. Oh no, I want to ask a question. Maybe what do you feel like I am not hitting for you? Like, is there something that maybe you think I'm not thinking about, or that like I haven't taken into account that I need to like maybe address, or like could address to help
convince people?
Well, like just to help get you, I don't know, because I feel like unless you're I just have it like I don't know, if it was like a dog egg, say it was dog eggs or something like that, I tend to think that people's ideas would change. Like when I talk to people and they do eat those things, and then you just shift around the animal or you shift around the mammal, like if your mom's eggs or your mom's breast milk that they were using or exploiting her for, like would you still be in support? Would you still do those things? And when it comes down to it, like it's like the human supremacy or like the speciesism of it all, like because as long as we're like discriminating based on species, you can always see somebody as like lesser than you.
Yeah.
And so it gives a justification that is arbitrary because it's just based on like physical appearance.
Yeah, but I think we've always been predators. We always will be predators. So
do you think that's a good thing?
I think it's a thing. I don't think it's a good thing or a bad thing.
But if, like as you said, like we evolve and things like that, like do you feel like we should evolve past that? Like are you like how we evolve?
No, I feel like the world, our ecosystems are so complicated that we're just beginning to understand little bits of it, and that we have millions of years that have led to this point, and humans are vastly abusing our planet. There is no doubt about that. But the planet's also working on rectifying. I mean, the effects of climate change are something none of us can ignore and are going to have significant impacts on your and my lifetime.
Yeah.
So, we can't say a wolf is bad for eating animals. That's how it evolved. We are bad for doing things in excess and doing things without thinking about them. But in some of those small acts by themselves, I don't feel like we can say are inherently an evil or bad act.
Well, I mean, I guess it just depends on what you personally feel is evil or bad. It's like if somebody like tells me everything that I know, I no longer feel like I can eat anything or spend any money on anything related to animal agriculture because of what I know. But I understand that somebody else may not feel that same way. I want to ask, because you say like we've done it for or that's how we evolved and how we got here. I want to ask if are you referencing like strictly colonialism? Like I don't know, because
not at all.
Because I recognize like prior to colonialism, like factory farming, just like farming agriculture, like farming animals in general. Like it just wasn't like this widespread, and it was definitely in a different like context. However, our context today is what I talk about, or is what I'm questioning people about, because we're living in this time.
Yep.
And like I don't know. I just don't see much of a. I don't know. I guess is there something I'm missing there? Like, is it that? I don't know. I just feel like is it like we've evolved doing something, so we should continue doing it that way. I just feel like.
Yeah, not that we necessarily need to continue doing that way, but I think it's sort of hard to ignore all of that history. And I'm curious, so I guess your question about, or is there anything you're missing? I feel like this is I hesitate to say this because I think there have been many times people have said this to me and I've negated it, but I also feel like the longer I live, the more gray area I see. And I think as a younger person, it was much easier to be like, no, absolutely not. This is why I very firmly believe this. And I think with each passing decade, I'm like, I still have really strong beliefs, but I see more of that sort of nuance. I'm also curious how your interviews go at this venue, because I think so many people that come here are really committed to a local food economy.
Oh yeah,
and
we typically come here on purpose because people are already open-minded.
Yeah.
We're just out here to talk about animals really at the end of the day. So, people are normally thinking about plants and what they can do to better their community around them. And that's all we're trying to do too. We're trying to get people to rethink their choices, maybe divest from big ag if they can, wherever they can, and start seeing animals as sentient beings who deserve to live in any context. And I specifically focus on not because we do this is like anti-animal use. I always have a channel, Total Liberation Now, that we do stuff, me and my partner, on a separate account, where we talk more about decolonization, right? and using that as a tool to help animal liberation as a whole. It's actually a concept of like we can't, like none of us are free until we're all free. I'm sure you've heard that before. It's just extending that to like our fur, feather, and fin kin, like because there's a belief that, you know, before colonization, indigenous cultures all over the world saw animals as, you know, put here with us.
Absolutely.
And as like,
and often before us as
yes,
our teachers.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Because like in my culture, I'm Samoan, and they would say like it was birds that helped bring canoes to the island. That helped us go out. And yes, they went out and fished, but it was subsistence.
Right.
They literally they need to because they're trying to traverse the waters and you know, build community. Like, so there's things like that I understand, and that's like my rock is that I use veganism or you know, plant-based eating as much as I can, like as a form of decolonization. And so I guess if I want to leave you with anything today, because you said you have some cool conversations like this multiple times like that, it's going to be, I want to leave you with something more like that so that you can maybe look into something that you haven't heard maybe as much before, because yeah, that stuff is really important to me, and that's kind of why I don't see myself ever not stopping being active. I think I honestly am going to have to be an active. It's going to be because it's going to be like, you know, just this world, you know, things are so terrible. You start to feel obligated to do whatever you can, and this is just how I feel like I'm doing what I can. So I guess that's all I want to talk to you today. Is there anything you want to leave me with in case? I do want to ask you if you take a card.
Yeah.
I know
I'll take a card.
we just have we have a website and everything. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
You could look at it. It's super interactive and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, I don't think I've thought a lot about plant-based eating in terms of
like decolonization.
the connection to colonialism.
Yeah, and like indigenous cultures, because like if you think about it, right, the idea of not wanting to use animals or not wanting to kill has been a thing before we had a definition for like, you know, veganism or anything or whatever. Like there's always been somebody or a child who is like, oh no, like I'm gonna cuddle this animal and I'm gonna be mad at my parents for killing this animal, like so I'm gonna now grow up and try to not kill any animals at all. So like the idea is pre-colonization. It's just now that we're trying to like figure out how to do it and maybe bring it back while we take down and dismantle the hierarchical systems that put it in place. So yeah, I guess that's my spiel.
Well, I wish you luck with your conversation.
Yes, I
today.
wish you
Appreciate you
a great day.
We don't often talk to people who have different opinions.
Yeah, I'm glad to
So
just
it's good to
talk to
practice.
and get people thinking. You got me thinking too, so that's
Yeah,
great.
good. Okay.
And if you ever want to review this, it's on our YouTube, Anti-Animal Use.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is on the card.
Which is on the card, yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
Great.
Yeah. Have
Thanks,
a great
Alvin.
day. No, it's nice to meet you, Megan.
Yeah.